This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to Locked On Bets here on this Tuesday, August 5th. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. We appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here in the Locked On Podcast Network. We have several baseball games to go over, a WNBA play, also a look at the Fighting Illini of the University of Illinois. We will get to that coming up in just a bit, Lee, but let's begin with our first play of the day.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
And Lee Sterling has been absolutely on fire with his player props in Major League Baseball. We'll get to the recap in just a few moments. But tonight in the National League late night game, the Dodgers hosting the Cardinals at Chavez Ravine. And Lee, what do you like with Mookie Betts?
Well, I prefer an early game. It's easy, get it over with. But last night it worked out for us with Manny Machado. We'll talk about that a little later. But Mookie Betts is one of those guys I think that's going to carry his team. And now he's going to be facing a pitcher that has some success with 4-10 against, with 2 home runs, Miles Mikolas. Just one of these guys that hits a lot of bats. Allowed 18 home runs in the 108 innings pitched so far this year. Fifth, that works out to 58 earned runs. So he's given up over a run every other inning. And Cardinals, like one of these teams, they have a little bit of hope. Oh, maybe, we can climb back in the wild card race, after the All-Star break. It goes on for a week, 2 weeks, and then they realize they are what most people realize are just a mediocre at best team here that maybe overachieved at time. He's just a guy that doesn't mix up his pitches enough here, doesn't have enough movement. You get to the middle of the summer here, and these mediocre pitchers, they get beat up, and we're going to take advantage of it. So Mookie Betts, one of these guys that's one of maybe the best 10, 15 players overall. Major League Baseball. He drives the ball like Machado. He hits the doubles. He's going to leg out triples and also hits a bunch of home runs. So we're not going to go for singles hitters on these props here. We're going to go with Mookie Betts over 1.5 bases, minus 105. That's going to be, like I said, I think an easy winner here. Just have to stay up a little later here in the evening.
Yeah, and that's now 4 consecutive props that you have hit with the bases, and you got it last night with Manny Machado and their loss to Arizona. But Machado had a double, which was good enough for another winner. So you'll take that one, and you know what? You go 1 for 4, 4 for 4. If you can get those 2 bases, all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of times when people bet it, they end up with singles. So. We've refined our technique here. You can run so many programs now with a computer and with the algorithms. Once you get to mid-July through early August, a lot of these things start kicking in. And like I said, the good players, this is where the star players, they really come on, and the mediocre to poor pitchers, that this is where they are. They're sitting 4th or 5th. In the lineup here for those teams pitching, and they'll be finished soon enough.
We did go 1-1 though, because we lost on our side. That was me. I had the Rays last night against the Angels, and full disclosure, earlier I liked the Angels. I flipped to the Rays. There's always I don't want to say arguments about that, Lee, but always kind of like in your head, do you say to yourself, like when you're taking a test, you go with what you like first, or you go with whatever you feel? And sometimes that happens. Tampa Bay was up 1-0. Angels won the game 5-1, kind of rolling away with it. So, it was never in doubt. But just quickly, because you have been doing this for a very long time, what are your thoughts on that? When you're handicapping a game, you like one side, then maybe your mind changes, not necessarily because of an injury, but just because you just see something you like on the other side. If maybe you lose it, should I have stuck with the first team? I know you've gone through it because everyone's gone through it, but what are your thoughts on all of that and like who to decide on when you're kind of stuck between the two teams?
I've had that happen, and it can work both ways. You can win and you can lose. More times than not, it's like playing poker. I muck the cards. If I'm starting one way and think the other way, I just move off the game. Sometimes the best play is just not playing the game at all. So it's just one game. You live and learn, and that's why it's so important to watch a lot of these games and to study analytics. And just sometimes it just doesn't work out. But like I said, usually when that happens, especially once we get into football season, baseball season, I'll pass. And football, you got 55 college games on average each week. I think there's like 134, 135 Division I teams this year in college football. And the NFL, you got 15, 16 games each week, and you got games inside. So if that conflicted, move on.
Now, speaking of football, we don't have any NFL preseason plays today, and we'll have more as the week goes on. Thursday, things kick off with week 1 of the preseason. But where are you at now as far as just the breakdown of week 1 of the preseason, getting things together to start not only releasing plays, but games you feel comfortable with?
Well, doing a lot of reading. These coaches, believe it or not, in preseason, they'll tell you a lot, like who's going to play, how certain players are looking. A lot of these beat writers, very, very good. Like we're down here in Miami, Barry Jackson, read his stuff. He'll tell you straight out how it is. And they're at all these practices, and, they've got the pulse of the team. So a lot of reading. More once you get into the NFL season, it's trusting your eyes and trusting numbers.
Yeah, and like you said about the coaches, that it's almost like they give away things in these press conferences that they'll say, "Okay, I'm starting this person. I'm going to start this quarterback. I'm going to play him for a little bit. I'm going to play my offense, the first team offense for a little bit." So that's kind of the best you can do because they're not going to do that in the regular season, but the preseason, it's kind of like, well, some of these coaches that don't really care about wins and losses, they'll probably just give you all the information.
That and also you'll see. Just also look at the transactions. I mean, let's say a team has got, 4 or 5 tight ends there, and it's the projected worst position for a team. If they're picking up 2 guys in the last week, well, it's not getting any better. They're churning through guys, looking to, find some guy that might be in shape and has a certain skill set that can help them. So just got to do a little bit of everything. It's a little bit different though than the regular season. Once you get going in the regular season, like I said, trust those eyes and look at your numbers. Your numbers are going to pretty much tell you which way is the right side.
Quick thing before we go to baseball and WNBA. Saw the Browns signed Tyler Huntley, who was with the Dolphins for a minute. He's from South Florida. The Browns are stacking quarterbacks, and they have they say if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. They have like 5 quarterbacks now. They have no idea what they're going to do with any of them.
Well, sometimes I think that might be the case. I think there's a projected 3 of those guys might miss some practice time, 2, 3, 4 days. So they're looking for an arm, just someone that can throw the ball in practice. And if he has to play in the game, a quarter has to at the most, they can put him in, running 15, 20 plays. So he's not making the team, unless they trade a couple of them. But more times than not, when you add a 4th, like some teams do, or a 5th, in the case of the Browns, only the Browns could do something like that. They're there probably, like I said, just as if it was baseball, batting practice arm, and they're just doing it because of some injuries.
Coming up, we will talk WNBA, full slate tonight. We'll get to that. Also, another baseball game. I'll look at the University of Illinois, the Fighting Illini. We'll take a look at their upcoming season, coming off 10 wins last year. We'll see if they could do it again as we continue right here. You're listening to Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about Gametime. And have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you could splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, and a lot of great matchups around Major League Baseball. If you're in Boston, check out the Red Sox and Royals at Fenway. If you're in Chicago, the Cubs and Reds at Wrigley Field. Also in Southern California with the Dodgers and the Cardinals meeting in LA. You want to go to Anaheim to see the Rays and the Angels. Plenty of action around Major League Baseball. The one place to go to get those tickets is Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We continue here, Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. I know we're taking a little sabbatical from WNBA, but it's back tonight, Lee, as with a hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
All right, we're going to go to the late night game in the WNBA. The Seattle Storm facing the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx have the best record in the NBA. They have the top scorer in the WNBA, and she's injured now. Nafisa Collier got hurt in their blowout win over Las Vegas on Saturday. She was the front runner for MVP, so she's sidelined with an ankle injury, and that will obviously affect the Lynx. And we're going to take Seattle in the first quarter -0.5 tonight. Now, a couple numbers here. Minnesota, off of their 50-plus point blowout of Las Vegas on Saturday, they shot lights out in the first quarter, 6 of 7 from deep. So that's probably not happening again. And on the flip side with Seattle, in their last 5 games in the first quarter, they've allowed 4 of 29 from three-point range. So they've done a good job from three. And also, Lee, want to bring up these numbers to you as far as what Seattle has allowed in the first quarter. 17, 18, 21, 16, 18, 15, 15, 16, 16 since mid-July. So they've done a good job defensively. They haven't been great at home in the first quarter, but coming off losses to the Sparks in double overtime and Indiana by 4, I think this is, I don't want to call it a get-right game against the best team in the league, but I think this is a good spot for them to bounce back. And Minnesota, I can't expect them to be very much up for this game with their best player out and off this big win over the Aces. They could lose this game. They'll still be fine. They'll probably still be going deep in the WNBA playoffs. Let's take Seattle -0.5 in the first quarter. And Lee, for you, hidden gem.
All right. Like that, Kevin. I like the fact also you got the travel, 2 hours, 2 time zones. And a lot of times, these good teams, it takes them sometimes 2-3 quarters to settle in these. It seems like these WNBA games. So Seattle always had passionate fans here. They're fired up about their Mariners. Let's hopefully find them fired up about their Storm tonight for at least a quarter.
Yeah, so we'll see. And again, you get 20 minutes of actual time, and then you're out. So it makes it nice and easy. So we'll take the Storm tonight as our hidden gem. And now, as we continue with one of our locks of the day on the diamond.
Open it, open it, open it! Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
One of 2 locks of the day. We'll get to college football in a little bit, but the Rays and the Angels, we had a loser on the Rays last night, so we just head back to Orange County now for night number 2 of this series between these 2 teams. And Lee, what do you have here with the Halos and the Rays in Anaheim?
All right, so I talked about last week about fading the LA Angels after the All-Star break, and we might need to add the Tampa Bay Rays to that list. In fact, since July 7th, they're 6-18, and they've scored more than 5 runs just 3 times. So here's the problem tonight for Ryan Pepio. 0-3 with a 5.45 ERA in his last 5 starts. And get this, talk about numbers. Pitch mix here. Every single one, he throws 6 different pitches. He has a decreasing spin rate. So tells you he's getting tired, doesn't have the arm strength he had early in the season here. Jose Soriano, kind of a under the radar, best kept secret the last couple starts here. 4 earned runs in the last 18 innings pitched at home. It was the defense which let him down, I thought, early in these games. 5 unearned runs by the defense in the last 3 starts. And that's a great thing about gambling. You can change your mind. You can go back and forth, every other game. And I think the Angels are the right side here. Money line, -125. Oh, the Tampa Bay Rays. I like the Angels with ease. It's going to be a level one lock here on Tuesday.
And since July 10th, the Rays have won one road game. So you go back, they got swept by Boston at Fenway before the All-Star break, got swept at Cincinnati. They lost 3 of 4 to the Yankees in the Bronx. So, it's been kind of a tough road for them. And we talked about it yesterday about just, they didn't have the true, I don't call it home field advantage this year without Tropicana Field, which isn't much, but it still was their home for a long time. They got moved to Steinbrenner Field, and then they play like these long road trips, come back for like 3 games, and go back out west again. So, and you're right with Soriano. He was a guy that, at least last year, picked up a lot of strikeouts late in the season. And the Angels, the one thing we'll say about them, Lee, is that they have had a pretty consistent pitching staff this year, in spite of the fact they're around the 500 mark. They have not been one of these teams with 10 or 11 different starters. They've had about maybe 6 different starters this year. So Soriano's been one of them. Kikuchi won last night, and we'll see if that continues coming up this evening. Coming up, we will have our second lock of the day as we go back to the Big Ten. We talked about Indiana yesterday, and today it'll be the Illinois Fighting Illini. That is coming up right here on Locked On Bets. We continue here on Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And we discussed Indiana yesterday. We stay in the Big Ten. We talked about a lot of Big Ten teams recently on our win total previews leading up towards the season. And the Illinois Fighting Illini, Brett Bielema running the show again. He's done a good job of turning that program around in Champaign. So let's see what we have for our second lock of the day, Lee.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
You kind of forget, or maybe I just forgot, that this is Brett Bielema's 5th season now as the head coach of Illinois, that he was at Wisconsin, was at Arkansas, kind of faded away for a little bit and came back. He's done a nice job turning Illinois kind of, was stuck in the mud like Indiana was, and now he's turned them around, and they're a decent team in the Big Ten. So what do you think about the Illini this season?
Yeah, he has turned around and hasn't really gone to the transfer portal a whole lot. He might next year, but really hasn't had to because he's going to be returning 19 starters. I think that might be the most in college football. Now, he's taken them from 5 wins his first season to 10 last year, first bowl game in over a decade. So this team is on the rise. He has a returning quarterback, Luke Altmaier. If you're not familiar with his name, he actually started at Ole Miss, was right there, was giving Jackson Dart a battle, but got beaten out. No shame. Getting beat out by a first-round draft pick, and he had a good year last year. 22 touchdown passes, just 6 interceptions. Now, he returns his almost entire offensive line, and that's important. Also, his best running back, Caden Fagan, missed over half the season, so looks like he's healthy and ready to go this year. They really have like 3 or 4 guys, even a true freshman that might be able to contribute. That's what they like to do. They like to pound the ball. That's what Brett Bielema, that you go back to his teams at Wisconsin and Arkansas. That's their trademark. When they can run, they're very successful. Big offensive lineman, the 6'4", 6'5" guy that goes 330, 340. And, they can get to some third and short situations. They can do some play action and be very successful. So I think that's going to be the recipe there. They got a nice transfer receiver, kid named Hudson Clement from West Virginia, number 13. So I think he's going to be a nice compliment, under the radar guy. That's their perceived weakness, where they lost a couple starters, but I think they'll actually be okay there. And then on defense, they returned 9 starters, and they even got a transfer from Bielema's old team, Wisconsin, a guy that started 7 games last year. So they're really returning 10 starters. And then let's move to the schedule. Starts off easy. Western Illinois. I think they'll beat Duke at Duke. Then they've got Western Michigan. Tough game at Indiana. USC at home. I mean, that's a team that's just has not produced and has been not underrated, underachieving for many years. And I don't see them taking the next step. And then Purdue, I mean, there's a chance they could be sitting at 6-0. And then comes the gauntlet, 2 games at home against Ohio State, but it is at home. And then they do get a bye week before they play Washington. But after that, Rutgers at home, Maryland at home. Both those teams aren't anything special. At Wisconsin could be tough. And then Northwestern at home. Total is 7.5. I love, not don't like, I love this play. We're going to go all the way up on Tuesday. Level 3 lock. Illinois Fighting Illini over 7.5 wins. Easy peasy.
And they lost 3 games last year. 2 of them came to Penn State and Oregon, who they avoid. So that's good. And they had both those on the road last year, which, I mean, obviously 2 very tough places to play, and losing at home to Minnesota. So really, like you said, you got Rutgers, Maryland, Northwestern at home. Those should all be wins. USC, you think, would be a win. And, Washington's going to be a tough trip going out to Seattle. And Ohio State's obviously going to be difficult. But, yeah, when you avoid 2 of the top 3 teams, then and you get Ohio State at home, yeah, you're right. As long as you don't have injuries, you should be able to eclipse this win total.
Yeah, I think it's an under-the-radar team. I don't think the Big Ten is anything special this year. Ohio State was very good last year. How they lost at home to Michigan and then, turned it on and won the championship. That was more a case of good coaching by Ryan Day. He was able to gather his team, and they were on the right side of the bracket. There was one side of the bracket was like, murderer's row with Oregon there. Oregon got totally screwed there being placed on that side. But I think they're reseeding this year. So I think Illinois has a real good chance to make it to postseason this year. And Brett Bielema, one of these solid coaches and hasn't had to go into the transfer portal, gets a lot of guys, junior, senior year, been in the weight program, been in the system. So they should start strong here. So like I said, your sister lives in Illinois too. She lives in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
She's
in Chicago. But she's not a University of Illinois fan. She's a Gator, so she.
We might have to send her though. If we're close to the total, Kevin, we're sitting at like 7 with a game or 2 left. Might have to buy her a ticket to send her to a game just so we can get over. She thinks we're doing it out of the goodness of our heart. We're doing it to protect our bet.
Yeah, well, she couldn't tell you the difference between Illinois and Northwestern anyway, football, so it doesn't really matter. I'll give you this one, too, on Brett Bielema. 3 or 4 seasons, positive ATS record. He was 3-9 against the spread in 2023, 9-3-1 last year. So 3 or 4 years, he covers. And that's the good thing about Brett Bielema is at least if they're going to win, they're probably going to cover, most likely.
Yep. Like I said, not pretty. We're probably not going to play him when they're laying double-digit points. He's one of those guys too. Once he gets a lead, he protects the lead. So just need him to win games here. That's what it's all about. Yeah, you might even go against them. Who knows? Let's say they beat Ohio State, Kevin. They're sitting at like 6-1. We might go against them when they're going out to Washington. No shame there. We'll pretty much already won the bet by that time.
And also, I'll give you another spot, too. I mean, I know this is really early, but after the Washington game, they come home for Rutgers. They beat Rutgers, a 2-point dog last year, 38-31. Maybe Illinois is laying a touchdown in that game, and you fade them. Maybe they're laying 7, 8, 9 points against Rutgers after Ohio State and Washington. Maybe that's the letdown spot for them. So, we'll see.
That might be a 2-hour and 20-minute game, with Greg Schiano. He likes to run the ball and play defense also. Won't be a whole lot. You're not going to see both teams throw the ball 25, 35 times.
No, it'll be a nice fast game there. Before we get out of here on this Tuesday, Lee, what's going on with Paramount Sports with the NFL preseason around the corner?
Well, it starts up on Thursday, so you want to get involved. 3 selections, $33 for listening here. How about this? Use coupon code SAVE30. 3 selections, $3. So you want to take advantage of it, build the bankroll heading into the season. We've won 6 of 8 seasons in the preseason. There's money to be made there, too. It's not like you get paid less if you win a game. So 3 selections, one on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday that we've identified where we think we have the advantage and also a good line already. Just Just $3. Use coupon code SAVE30, ParamountSports.com, or call us 800-400-9741. Start winning today.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, also Locked On Bets. And the audience is building as we head into football season, so we appreciate your support, and also the podcast as well, that you can find us on your favorite audio platform. And also you can find us on the X, Lee at Paramount Sports, myself at Rogers Picks. And tomorrow we'll be back with you for more baseball picks, and we'll start to get the NFL preseason infused as well. So a couple days away, and then football is back for good, and then the real stuff will happen in just a few weeks, but at least we'll have football to watch coming up this weekend. Watch and wager on. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for watching this edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.